How is it that a friend of mine could come to me and ask me, hey, can you meditate and just let me know what I'm holding on to? And I could get into a meditation, hear Spirit speak to me, go back to him and say, you're holding on to some specific emotion, without putting his details out there, towards this person for this event that happened to you when you were this age. And he doesn't consciously remember or have a clue as to what I'm talking about. So he contacts his sibling who reminds him, yeah, that actually did happen. How is that possible? If meditating makes me a quote witch or demonic or whatever it is, then I must have a very kind demon that is channeling through me that just wants to help everyone around him. Or maybe we've got something wrong. Maybe. And on that note, we're going to talk today about meditation, my favorite subject. And as I do that, I'm going to burn some sage. In the next video, I will then dive into how there's no part in the Bible that discusses sage being anything unholy whatsoever. None. Zero. Zilch. I read the book daily. So don't worry. I'll get into that subject too. Man, a lot of you are just, I don't know if it's your pastors. I don't know what is going on. I really hope you find your own truth. I really do. Don't even listen to a word I say. Find your own truth. Meditation, what I like to call the secret to life. The most life-changing thing, aside from my teachers, who God has so graciously placed along my path, if I could contribute one thing to the spiritual growth and development I've had over the last 10 years of just really searching, it would be meditation, hands down. I used to ask myself, why don't they talk about this more? But then I realized they don't want you to know about it. And I'm going to dive into why this is the most powerful thing you can ever do. I'm going to tell you about the spiritual gifts I've gained from it. I'm going to tell you about the science-backed evidence that shows how much it helps you, not only mentally, but physically, from your brain to your body. Let's get started. I love this. We'll call this one Meditate with Nate. So, unlocking the power of meditation, benefits, spiritual gifts, and practical tips. Thank you so much for being here. Let's go. The reason I want to talk about meditation is because it's changed my life. And a lot of people are very misled about it. They either don't know how to do it, they don't know how powerful it is, or their pastor, whoever they're looking up to, has given them incorrect information about it. Let's start off with the health benefits. Reduces stress and anxiety, lowers cortisol levels. Cortisol is a hormone that, when elevated, impairs cognitive function of the brain, for those you don't know. It decreases activity in the amygdala, which is the brain's fear center. It reduces chronic stress, helps you with emotional regulation, improves focus. It increases gray matter in the prefrontal cortex of the brain. This area of the brain is responsible for functions like decision-making and attention. So this is how it helps your focus. And it also, speaking of intention, increases your attention span. In fact, regular meditation practice can improve task performance significantly. And not only that, but it has a great benefit on your health. It boosts your serotonin and endorphin levels. For those of you who've been on an antidepressant, serotonin is the neurotransmitter that's associated with mood regulation. Meditation helps this. Meditation decreases symptoms of depression. For me, it cured my anxiety and got me off antidepressants. So that's just my own experience with it. Lowers blood pressure, promotes relaxation, reduces your heart rate. Obviously, as you know, a lower heart rate can reduce the risk of cardiovascular diseases. It enhances nitric oxide production, improves blood vessel flexibility. Do I need to keep going? It's okay, I will. Increases sleep quality, increases melatonin production. You know what melatonin is, right? It's the hormone that regulates your sleep-awake cycle. As a result of that, it reduces insomnia. It reduces those racing thoughts you get that lead to insomnia. It boosts the immune system, increases activity of natural killer cells in the body. Now, these cells, they play a role in the body's defense against tumors and infected cells. It reduces inflammation markers. It reduces the chances of chronic inflammation, which leads to various diseases, as you know, cancer, Alzheimer's. You might be asking yourself, well, how long does it take to get these benefits? There's a Harvard study that shows just 8 weeks of meditation can change the brain structure. I could keep going, but I think you get the point I'm trying to make. Let me just tell you my own journey real quick. I'll tell you how I got into meditating. I was in a real bad place. I was having so much anxiety. I was struggling financially. I just moved across the country to be here. I opened a branch in Tampa. I'm struggling. I don't know anyone here. It's just, I'm overwhelmed. I am stressed out to the max. I have a prescription for antidepressants. I have a prescription for anxiety medication, which both I don't want to take. I am having horrible quality of sleep. I'm having anxiety. I am just freaking out. And I have my hands up in the air. And what I say to myself is, I don't know what else to do. God, I need your help. I need your help. Something just tells me start meditating. So I do. I had a walk-in closet at the time. I would go in there and I had space in the middle of it to meditate without, the clothes being on my head and stuff. And I would just sit in there, set a timer on my phone and meditate. And I would just started doing this daily. And what I quickly realized was the stress just washed away. I don't know why or when. I was still trying to figure this whole thing out. I was thinking to myself, I just feel less stressed. I mean, everything's still hitting the fan. I'm still panicking, but I'm not stressed and I'm not as anxious anymore. And someone said something to me that stuck with me. They said, intuition is God's telephone to you, and meditation is your telephone to him. And I could not agree with this anymore because I don't know how long it took. I'm gonna be honest with you. It didn't take that long. Maybe a couple weeks, could have been a week. I have no idea. I started hearing voices in my head that tell me that I need to go out and door knock. Now I'm working in mortgages and I don't know where to go. And the voice just leads me down this street. I have another video on this. That voice leads me right to the house of my now mentor. Now in meditation, I ask God, please send me a mentor and a realtor because I need them both. I am struggling, man, and I want to get closer to you. I don't know what this feeling I got is, but I want to get closer to you. I knock on her door. Nobody answers. But later that day, that woman drives by me, reverses her car, backs up, and tells me that she's supposed to meet me. It's a spiritual thing. Not only that, she's a realtor. It's probably a coincidence, right? What are the odds? Then she says, can I mentor you? That was the first time that I ever heard a voice in my head tell me anything, which was like, whoa. I had read about this stuff on the internet, but I'm such a skeptic with everything. I never want to be the naive guy who just believes anything, right? That got my attention. How did that voice lead me to your house that I'm hearing? And how did you hear a voice that told you to stop and talk to me? So that was when I started to develop this spiritual gift, if we can call it that. Over time, the more I'd meditate, the more I would spend time, doing energy healing, the more I would really just search for the truth, search for my own truth. And the more I meditate, the more I hear that voice. It really started to intrigue me because like I told you, I'm able to send a message to a friend about something he doesn't even consciously remember. How is that? That intrigued me. How can I do this? I'll tell you another time. That voice led me right to a party with friends I didn't really hang out with very much. And I remember thinking, why am I here? And I hear it tell me to go talk to that guy sitting on the couch in the corner. And I go over and talk to him. And I learned the hard way, ask permission before you give someone a message. If you have this ability like me, you need to ask permission. Don't freak someone out, dude. Like, I'm serious. If I go over to him and I say, hey, I think God wants me to tell you something. Can I tell you? And he's like, sure. He's kind of confused. And I just start telling him his whole childhood. He's freaked out. And I started telling him how this and this and this happened because that's part of his journey, his purpose here, and what he's supposed to do. And I told him this place he's supposed to apply for a job at. I'm like, I see you working there, and this is what your role is. And he's shook, and he says, I just applied for a job at that place today. You could see the tears in his eyes. He's like, what is going on? Now, if I tell some of my hardcore Christian friends I meditate and I burn sage and I, connect with the divine, I'm a devil worshiper. But I tell this kid, this guy, I call him a kid, he's younger than me. I tell him something about him, something that God felt he needed to know. If God didn't feel that, I wouldn't have heard it. And I'm a bad person. Or maybe you're confused. Maybe that's why I feel called to even make these videos in the first place, is to share this with the world because I feel like people are confused. I'll put it that way. Just put it lightly, confused. He thanks me repeatedly. This is the answer I was looking for. And I said, I know because I heard it. And then he's kind of freaked out, right? They always go into this. This doesn't happen every single minute of the day, but when it does happen, people are like, who the hell are you? Who are you? Like, hey, man, just calm down. It's cool. I just hear things sometimes. I'm not a messiah. I'm not going to walk on water, and I can't turn your water into wine, but I can hear. And I'm blessed enough to have friends around me who have the same gift. I'll give you another example. I'm getting baptized on a retreat in New Mexico. You'll notice I have a rosary I never take off, ever. This is from my retreat. My friend, who's a Native American shaman, this is what she tells me. She says, tell your sister if she wants to communicate with your grandmother, she can. Just pray to her, call out to her. If she's missing her, tell her to, hold the teddy bear that she has in the closet. It's just kind of like a reminder that she's always around her. I said to her, the bears that were made were of my grandfather. They had bears made of like his shirts or whatever. She says, no, spirit doesn't lie. It's for your grandma. Now I call my sister, okay? My sister, she's like, I'm just missing her today. And yes, she did leave me a teddy bear. It is in the closet and I just saw it and I just, started missing her. How is that possible? How? See, even if I looked at this from a scientific standpoint, maybe my mirror neurons, we can pick up on each other. Okay. But how is that possible? When you really start to get connected, I don't know what your gift is going to be. You might see, I don't know, maybe you can see auras. I have no idea. I can only speak from my experience. When you start to get connected and when you're ready, these gifts will come to you. I think. They came to me. I don't know. I don't think I'm anything special. And it's your job when God gives you those gifts to help the world and to guide those around you. That's your job. So I share these stories, and I have 100 of them, but I don't want to get this video off topic of meditation, but I share these stories to talk about the spiritual gifts that come with meditating. So for someone to say something negative towards me, I'm going to say, you just be right. And I'm not going to waste my energy arguing. I know what I've experienced. This is my truth. This is what I've experienced. Other people, fortunately, have shared their experience on the internet, and it's allowed me to be a little curious, which allowed me to really fly down this path. So I feel like I owe it to the world to share my experience. That's what I feel. And I hear all the time. In fact, I'm in a social group, and I know that 2 of the girls, because I hear it, lost their dad. So without saying anything to them, it's not a topic I'm going to bring up, but I've always made it a point to just kind of look after them, check on them, make sure they're okay, kind of be the, quote, big brother to them. And I heard it first, and then I confirmed it with some others in this social group, and they said, yeah, she did actually. Don't say I asked, I was just curious. I'm going to make sure I don't bring it up, is what I said. The truth is, I'm just confirming what I already knew. These are just some examples of how you meditate, you may develop these gifts, and you may be able to help the world. Now, it's uncomfortable for me to put this out there. I'm actually might seem comfortable on the camera, but it's actually very personal to me because you pose this risk of people thinking you're crazy. So now that I've got some examples out of the way, let's talk about the spiritual gifts of meditation. When you meditate, you deepen the connection with yourself. You basically enhance your own self-awareness and inner peace. It's also been said to reduce egocentric thinking. But what I notice when I meditate, I have an increased feeling of oneness or unity. I notice the more regularly I meditate, the more I feel this interconnectedness with everything around me. I call it tuned in, but I really feel that interconnectedness with the divine. And I notice that my intuition is much more heightened. I notice it opens the channels for that intuitive guidance, that telephone from God. And I know from what I've researched, it activates the pineal gland. Now, the pineal gland is often referred to as the third eye, and it's associated with higher states of consciousness. So essentially, you enhance your ability to pick up on subtle energies, such as energetic fields or auras, and it facilitates a deeper understanding. I could go on and on about the benefits of that. But I believe that the gifts that you will gain spiritually come from the activation of the pineal gland. That's what I think. And I can only speak for myself. All I know is the more I meditate, the more I feel connected with the divine. I can only share my experiences, which is exactly what I promised God I would do. That's it. And if you research the Kundalini awakening, you'll know the benefits of that with meditation. Meditation also is known to promote the release of DMT. I've never done DMT, but from what I'm told, experience within itself. So I'm going to talk right now on how to meditate. The first things first, you have to be in a dark, quiet place. When your brain is in complete darkness, it produces melatonin. And this is very key because melatonin, which is also known to be produced in the pineal gland, is really the driving force behind your connection with the divine. So you have to be in darkness and you want to be in a place that's quiet and free from distractions. Now, I like to meditate listening to binary beats or Native American flute music or just something to quiet the mind. But some people meditate in complete silence. Some people will burn incense, they'll burn candles, whatever helps you to just quiet the mind. And it's going to take practice. Don't get frustrated. Don't get all antsy and get mad at yourself that you can't calm your mind. It's okay. The more you do it, the easier it will become. And the idea of it is to turn the mind off. You will realize very quickly when you make this a regular practice how distracted the mind is. You will realize how the more distracted you are, the more you can't hear God speak to you. So you must quiet the mind. Because when you quiet it, you can hear him and you'll hear his guidance I mean, that's really just the start of setting you on your path. Now, another thing that people do is mantras. You may be familiar with one that's like, What is Om? It is a unit of measure for energy, OHM, because even the very enlightened gurus far before our time knew that when you were meditating, you were activating the energy centers of the body. So your energy centers are your chakras. We know this. The mantra also helps you to focus. It depends on your religion or whatever you want to do. I know one of them I like is Sat Chit Ananda, which I learned from Deepak Chopra. And you want to aim to do at least 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes has actually been scientifically proven to give you all of the health benefits I mentioned in the beginning of this video, but I would start with 10. If you can't do more, just do 10. And there's two types of meditation. One of them is quieting the mind, the mantras or guided or just listening to whatever music. But the other type is a silent meditation, is when you just sit in silence. You don't talk, you just think. There's actually silent retreats. I do want to go on one because I'm really intrigued by them, but there's silent retreats where you go on a retreat and nobody says a word, quieting the mind. You're removing distractions, you're connecting with the divine. Now, when you really, really get tuned in and you really feel that connection of God, you're going to feel your whole body vibrate. I've had multiple people that I've coached on this text me and call me freaking out. Like, what was going on? It's okay. It's perfectly normal. You're activating those energy centers in the body. Some of you might feel this wave of emotion come over you. It's God's presence. I've seen that happen in yoga. I saw a grown man, big alpha male, break down sobbing in the middle of yoga. And the yogis know this happens. So they're trained. They just go up to them. They just rub their back. They don't say anything. They just kind of comfort them. Because what's happening is that connection with God is just coming through. And you just feel all this love and you're just embracing it. It's just overwhelming. And I've had times in yoga myself where I just felt that. So don't be afraid. God is always guiding you and he's always protecting you. Just know that you are safe. If you experience some regular benefits to this, not if, when, because if you do this, you will. Tell me about it in the comments. Tell me what happens for you. Tell me what gifts you develop. It could be intuition. It could be your ability to see. You might start seeing auras around people. Whatever it is, whatever spiritual gift you gain, tell me, because I'm intrigued by this. I'm intrigued, and someone else might hear your response or read your comment and it might put them on their path. And I hope that this video helps you to kind of wake up to that kingdom of heaven that is within you and really connect with the divine, with God, as I call him. You might call him Allah, whatever. Call me Nate, call me Nathan. I'm the same person. Let me know. And if you found this information useful, this channel, I'm sharing tips on spirituality and mindset, personal development, because I feel you cannot be the best version of you without a connection with the creator. So they go hand in hand for me. And that's what I want to talk about. That's what I feel I was sent here to do. Hope you enjoyed it. If not, keep scrolling. Sorry I wasted your time. Have a good day.